century. That's what I meant to say. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Hey, Dan.
What do you guys say about DeFuniak Springs?
Did it kind of feel to you guys like we were in the Twilight Zone?
Yeah.
We were stuck in time.
Yeah, the architecture was definitely Victorian most of the time.
That's true. Some of the cafes downtown were kind of like the 50s.
Yeah, and some of the buildings were like the 20s.
And then there was Penny Allison's store, which I thought had a little bit of every era in it.
Yeah, I love Penny Allison's store.
And I liked Penny.
Hello, I'm Fanny Allison from DeFuniak Springs, and I hope you like the show.
DeFuniak Springs has a lot of characteristics typically found in small southern towns. The groggy pace of life, the neighbors who play together as children, grow up and reminisce together as elders. Attitudes that are passed down through the generations like family heirlooms. But in some important ways, DeFuniak Springs is very different.
I don't really consider myself as a black officer. I'm a black man and an officer for the people of the city of DeFuniak Springs. Been quite a bit of confusion on that we have us a black chief. I'm a black man, but I'm a chief and a marshal for all of the people. I always felt like that I was just as much responsible even before I went into law enforcement. I was just as much responsible for making DeFuniak Springs a better place to live if I was going to leave here as a mayor of the town or the city council or anybody else. How about logging me with 3 10-12, 2 females, 1 male, about an hour ago, about 10 o'clock?
Clint Hooks is the chief of police for DeFuniak Springs. He's 66 years old, he's been elected to the position 7 times, and he doesn't carry a gun.
You live by the sword you die by. And any time that I've needed a gun, I was always blessed to have it, accessible.
The temptation is to assume the town is a real-life version of Mayberry RFD, but according to Clint, that just isn't so.
For the size of our town, we do have a pretty good traffic of drugs, pretty sizable traffic of drugs.
Still, that doesn't stop him from going beyond the bounds of his job to make sure that the citizens of his town are not only safe, but happy.
Hello. How's everybody? All right, y'all got to get that little lady straightened out there?
Yeah. His routine starts off about sometimes 3 and 4 in the morning. He comes by here and he always says, "Hi, how are you doing?" every single morning. He goes all the way upstairs and checks it out and makes sure everybody's okay. And then he goes on and does his little daily thing.
I've always been a firm believer, when you wake up, get up. When you get up, do something. And because there's always somebody needs you. Yeah. And usually, if I go to bed 10 or 11, I'm usually up at 4. And so this is one of the first things that I do. And I've found occasionally I've been helpful to somebody here.
What he's usually done by 7 o'clock in the morning would be half a day's work for a lot of people. But having checked in on all the patients in the hospital and nursing homes, Clint shifts professional gears for an hour to drive the local school bus.
You not gonna ride the bus today? Well, where's your mom? You not gonna ride it today? No, I'm going today. Okay, all right, thank you. Well, you know, I stay going so much.
By 9 o'clock, he's back to being the city's chief law enforcement officer, a position he cherishes almost as much as the town he serves.
I'm kind of like Mrs. Allison. When the good Lord called me, I just soon called me from here as anywhere I know. I'll be go, as people have mentioned on many occasions. Well, you're going to kill yourself. I say, well, put a marker there that died for the best people in the world, people in the city of DeFuniak.
Like towns all across America, DeFuniak Springs must credit its existence to the coming of the railroad. Before that, there was only the Uchi Indians and a few Scottish pioneers. Their chief, Sam Story, invited here about 1820. They established a settlement on the Bruce Creek a few miles south of here called Uchiana.
He said, brothers, come on over and see my land. And he brought 3 of the fellows over and introduced him to the valley country and the hills. And it was so similar to the mountains in North and South Carolina that I said, this is a spot.
But in 1881, as the story goes, while surveying for a new east-west rail line, the party stumbled upon, in the midst of the virgin forest, a round lake.
Colonel W.D. Chipley was the man who surveyed the route. And when he came through, he encamped here one night and said, we need to make something here in this spot. The lake yard was forested with longleaf pine trees, a beautiful setting. They were so charmed with the live oaks and the big, tall, longleaf pine trees that they just were carried away. W.D. Chipley said, we must do something here.
Chipley's new railroad needed the support of more established railroad companies to the north, and so in May of 1881, controlling interest of Chipley's A&P was sold to the L&N in Nashville, whose president was an Italian engineer named Frederick DeFuniak.
He was an engineer. He was once a member of the Confederate Army, and before then he was with the Union Army. And he was quite a character, a nobleman of count. And he was president of the L&N, and we're not sure that he was ever here.
One account, in fact, says that when several of the railroad officials met at the exclusive Pendham's Club in Louisville, the decision to name the new town Lake DeFuniak may have been won by the L&N president in a gentleman's wager at the toss of a coin. Later, it was decided that changing the name to DeFuniak Springs would probably attract more visitors.
Where did you get all this stuff?
Well, after 63 years, you just collect some all along, and I never threw anything away. I always packed it in the back, and I brought it out. I was always accused of everything, but I would ravel thread out of old sacks and wind it on a ball, make the children a ball.
Really?
I just never threw anything away.
Before I play this grand old Church of England hymn, which has been taken up by the whole Christian world, I would want everybody to know that I am not an organist. The only word for a pipe organ is noble. Pipe organ builders use that word a lot, nobility. The concept of God is a noble idea, and it requires nobility of sound and nobility of instrument, and that's what a pipe organ is. I play it a little bit. I can hardly wait to put my hands on that instrument.
In 1990, Tom Bartholomew began construction on what is known as one of the most elaborate and beautiful instruments in the world. The organ is located in the St. Agatha's Episcopal Church here in DeFuniak Springs. Every pipe in the organ was handcrafted to the specifications of its builder, Tom Bartholomew.
Well, I began with lessons when I was 16, and the mechanical aspect of it soon took my interest, more so than the playing. And I slowly took it up and worked with some other distinguished builders in Tucson, and I'm sort of branching off on my own. And in that aspect, this is a fine opportunity for me to show what I can do in this part of the country.
Building organs encompasses a lot of trades ranging from carpentry to mechanics, But the best thing Bartholomew gets from it is the satisfaction of hearing the beautiful music. Although the organ was built primarily for St. Agatha's, it's certainly not limited to just its members. Anyone who lives in DeFuniak Springs, and even if you don't, Father Fowler and his congregation welcome you. And don't worry, the organ was built to last a lifetime or two, so you have a little bit of time.
Yeah, I think it's probably here for the next century. We've just celebrated our centennial year last year, and I hope it's here for our bicentennial.
If it's a good meal you're looking for in DeFuniak Springs, there are lots of places to choose from. But if it's advice, gossip, or the best darn hot dog in the world, the H&M hot dog stand on 9th Street is the place to go. That is, of course, unless you're with a large crowd, because the H&M only seats 7.
It'll stand about 8 behind the 7, so that's the way it is sometimes.
You can get your food to go, but don't bother trying to phone your order in.
They don't have a phone. You can't call it in. They don't add it up on an ad machine, your bill. They do it in their head and on their fingers, sometimes their toes. You know, it's just fun just to come in here and eat.
The Little Tin Shack has been home to the H&M for about 50 years. Maggie Davis and her sister Merle Carter have been running it for the last 20. And while they serve only hot dogs and hamburgers, what they dish out is a whole nother story.
They coordinated my political campaign. They ran it for me. They got me elected.
How is that?
Their mouth.
Politics aside, it's really the hot dogs that put this place on the map, and not just the city map either.
Yeah. We've had people as far as Germany in here. They read about us in Germany.
They've been written up in Southern Living and Southern Leisure, and I understand Playboy may be coming down to do an interview for long.
So just what is it that makes these hot dogs so special?
I don't know. That's we steam the buns and the wieners and buns and all.
And they use the original steamer with a slightly modified lid.
That piece of cardboard looks like it's been with you a while.
No, we change it once in a while.
Other than that, it doesn't appear much else has been changed in the past half-century. The ambience is still friendly, the decor simple. You get your food on a napkin, and you can get your own soda, thank you very much. And if you expect special treatment, well...
Now, what'll happen a lot of times, you get a good-looking guy come in here, now they'll go around, they'll get his Coca-Cola, but, man, they won't even touch mine at all.
A hot dog is only 75 cents, whether you have it for breakfast, lunch, or supper, and the hamburger's not a bad deal either.
I have 3 hot dogs all the way on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and on Tuesday and Thursday I have 2 hamburgers on the plate.
Any reason in particular why you divide them up like that?
Yeah, because I like Maggie's cooking better.
Whatever your preference, Maggie and Merle will gladly cook it up at the H&M hot dog stand, home of the best darn hot dog in the world.